Hi guys, my name is Michelle and I want to share my keto journey. So this is actually my first full week, and I'm not even sure if it's my first full week right now of keto, but I will say definitely I started this week and I thought I did because number one, every morning my husband is so sweet. He makes my coffee for me. He'll go get me breakfast and make my coffee. And so he would make it up for me. He would put the creamer and everything. And so I would always ask him, hey, what did you put in there? And so then I would count what he said. Well, I just found out yesterday that he wasn't really measuring. So I can't really say this was my first keto week because I don't know how many carbs I was actually having. And so anyways, that's one of the first things I want to say is really, if you're going to try to do keto, know exactly what you're eating. And don't just guess, and don't trust someone else. I mean, I love my husband, but I, he said, well, I thought, and I thought doesn't really make it. So yesterday I made up my own coffee and it still had carbs in it, but there was carbs that I knew how many there were. And everything I ate yesterday, I made it up. I measured it, so I knew how many carbs that I had. So that's one of the things about this keto journey that I would say is to make sure that you know. Now, even though I didn't know for sure how many carbs I was having because of my coffee, my keto coffee, I did lose weight this week. I went down 5 pounds, so I'm very happy about that. But I feel like I'll do more next week just for the fact that I'm really counting and I'm really being in control of myself. And I think that's one of the things is making sure that you're in control of what you're eating as opposed to someone else in any capacity being in control of what you're eating. And so I started last week, and like I said, I'm down 5 pounds this week, but what's more impressive to me is that one of the things I had noticed that my ankles were so swollen and puffy, and I always hated, even though my body is large, some reason I always had this thing about swollen, puffy ankles. And it's funny because one of my doctors said that same thing. She said a lot of women say that. They're like, well, I don't like being fat, but I really don't like fat ankles. But one thing, my ankles have gone down after 1 week of doing keto, or my story about that. After 1 week of doing keto, my ankles are down. They are down to normal size. And I always used to think it was just fat, but obviously it wasn't. It was fluid, it was inflammation from the things that I was eating. So I will say, even though the weight loss, I can't complain about 5 pounds, but I did notice that big difference in my ankles, and that made a big difference to me, seeing the inflammation. And not just there, there's other things that I'm noticing that are loose as well, that they weren't loose before, and that's in 1 week. And so I don't like focusing on the scale, because for myself, it's been lifetime of yo-yo dieting or lifetime of focusing on a scale. And then whenever I would get upset, I didn't see what I wanted to on the scale, then I would quit. And so that's why I don't want to necessarily focus on the scale. I do know that the scale is an indicator of weight loss, but I'm looking for fat loss, I'm looking for overall health, and I'm looking for overall changes. All of those things are what make a difference to me. So today my plan is to go out and buy a measuring tape so I can take my measurements. I think it's important to take my measurements and to see, because I do recall in one instance that I was being really diligent about what I was eating. I was doing a different plan, and for 1 month the scale did not move. I was so devastated. I was so upset. I was exercising 2 times a day. Not 2 times a day, I would say 2 hours a day. I was doing muscle weight training and I was doing cardio, and the scale didn't move for a month. I was devastated because I'm thinking, I'm working so hard, and I'm not seeing what I want to see. But I had taken my measurements, and in that month, I went down in different areas, like 2 inches, up to 2 inches in that month. And so I think that was incredible. But unfortunately, my focus was still on the scale. And so that's one thing I would say, measure yourself. I'm not going to say I'm not an expert on keto. I'm just trying to tell my story because let me give you a little bit backstory about myself. I'm 54 years old, married, 4 kids, grandchild, and one grandchild on the way. And that's why I want to tell this story for someone that's older. Sometimes we see the younger kids doing it. Oh, I had all this great success, and that's great. But I'm not this little young kid anymore. And I would like to lose 200 pounds on keto. I'm going to, later on, I'll show some pictures. But one step at a time, but also one age at a time. Yes, I have hot flashes, deal with a lot of things that people our age deal with. So I want to do this for someone my age, someone that's not in their 20s, someone that's not in their 30s and 40s, but someone my age. And so one more thing that I did start doing this week was I started exercising. Now, let's just keep it real. For someone my size, I was thinking I'm not going to start this real big, deep, heavy exercising, but I just said I'm going to get more steps. And with the job that I work, yes, I can get under 2,000 steps in a day. From the time I wake up and to the time I go to bed, I can get less than 2,000 steps in a day without any trying. And that would be my day normally. So I have a dog, and I said, well, you know what? I'm going to start taking her for a walk. And so now I've been getting up to 6,000 steps in one day. Sometimes a little bit more, but that's just within this week. But I'm also not going to just cry if I don't get out. Today it is 3 degrees where I live, 3 degrees. So are we going for a walk? No. I might try to get some activity in, but I know one of the main things is with keto is some people say you don't have to exercise. Some people say that you should. Well, I'm going to say for myself, I want to get moving. I want to get active because I went to the physical therapist last week or last couple of weeks for my shoulder. And one of the things that she said was that motion is lotion. And so sometimes at our age, at my age, people are slowing down and not being active. And I don't want to be that person. I want to be that person who's still active and still going. I like to travel a lot, and I like to fit in a seat. That's really important when I'm in an airplane. But I like to travel. I like to keep going, and so that's why I feel that it's so important for me, number one, to lose this weight. Sometimes people at my age say, oh, for my grandchildren. I love my grandchild. I love my grandbaby on the way, but I'm doing this for me. And so they will benefit from it, but I'm doing it for me. So anyways, that's my first week doing keto. And like I said, I'm not even sure if I was doing it. And I'm saying doing it meaning that I'll probably tomorrow or the day after use a little strips to see if I reach ketosis, because I didn't do it before, and I do actually have the little strips, but I'll probably do it in a couple of days just to make sure, because I am in control now of what I'm eating and what I'm drinking, and I know how many carbs I'm actually having. So anyways, this is week 1, and this is Michelle. Hope you're enjoying the journey, and maybe you'll join me on this journey too. Have a great day. Have a great week.